We talk a lot about teams that, have fans that are bandwagon ish. There are players, I believe, that have bandwagon fans as well. And I don't think there's a greater example of that than Erik Karlsson. And yeah, at some point I could do a list of here's players who seem to have people who love them, people who hate them, and in some cases, people go from loving them to hating them overnight, it seems. Or at the very least, go from praising them to saying, it's not that great. So a couple years back, I did a video on who I thought were the best defensemen in the NHL. And there were mostly Sens, but some fans who got mad at me because I think I had Erik Karlsson at like ninth, eighth or ninth. And it was, this guy is not the eighth or ninth best. But I felt that Erik Karlsson had lost a step that year. Erik Karlsson, who's drafted 15th overall in 2008, 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. And honestly, he's had a lot of bad luck in recent years, and tragedy he's gone through as well. And so I really think that Karlsson just needs I don't know if I want to use the term clean slate because he's in San Jose for good, but something needs to change for him. And maybe this long pause, because San Jose hasn't played since March, they're not going to play till January at the earliest. Maybe this long pause is the best thing that could happen to Erik Karlsson. Maybe the Erik Karlsson that shows up to training camp for the San Jose Sharks will be the one that the Ottawa Senators had for most of the time he was there. Because he was an excellent defenseman, but now, if you listen to people talk about him, it's just, well, he's just a pure offense guy. And the fact that people thought he was really good just shows they only care about offense. No, Erik Karlsson was an excellent all-around defenseman. And it started really right from year one, where in his first season, 60 games played, 5 goals, 21 assists. 26 points, nothing to write home about, but also pretty decent for a rookie. On the blue line, 2010-2011, the goal scoring shows up. 73 games, 13 goals, 32 assists, 45 points. Erik Karlsson, an excellent goal scorer right out of the gate. And that is really part of what made him excellent. But he was a horse. He'd play half of a game. And you could see his instincts at both ends of the rink were pretty good. And then 81 games in 2011-2012, 19 goals, 59 assists, 78 points. He wins a Norris Trophy, and he's a first-team All-Star. And this is where the expectations for Karlsson are through the roof. But the following season, 2012-2013, a year where we had a lockout-shortened season anyways, 17 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. He missed 31 games with a left Achilles injury. So that is a long-term injury. That can be, brutal. And yet, after that season, he comes back in 2013-2014 and plays pretty well. 82 games, 20 goals, 54 assists, 74 points. Not too shabby. And at the Olympics, he wins a silver medal, and he's named the best defenseman in the tournament. So he doesn't get consideration for the Norris that year, but he's still one of the best defensemen in the game, and he does get himself a silver medal as well. So, that's not nothing. 2014-2015, 82 games played, 21 goals, 45 assists, 66 points. And he wins the Norris that year, and he's a first-team All-Star. So this is it's all about the offense crowd. This is where, in Karlsson's case, it's not necessarily true. The 66 points were less than he had the year before, where he really didn't get serious consideration for the Norris, but that year he did. And this is where that conversation's being had, where he is likely the best defenseman in the game. And when he doesn't win Norris, people get upset. Following season being an example. 82 games, 16 goals, 66 assists, 82 points. First team All-Star, finished second in Norris voting. But again, there were plenty of people who said he's number one, and they had all these charts and all these advanced stats things to say he's the greatest defenseman in the game, and he's awesome, and he's great. And now we can look back and go, well, yeah, but he's all offense. And that's simply not the case. 2016-2017, 77 games, 17 goals, 54 assists, 71 points. He's on the first team, and he's number 5 in Hart voting that year. For Hart voting. So this is, again, that argument of why doesn't he win the Norris? He's getting ripped off. If you're a John Karlsson fan in Washington, it was much the same argument 3 years ago about Erik Karlsson. So if your last name's Karlsson, no matter how you spell it, you might be a fan that says, I think they should have had more Norris trophies. Now, this is where the nagging foot injury hits. So he's basically playing on one foot in the playoffs. Absolute beast, fantastic. It's part of the reason why I have this Erik Karlsson jersey here. Also because they went on for cheap when he got traded, and I thought, well, I'll take one for cheap. Because Erik Karlsson was my favorite Ottawa Senator when he was there. So 2017, 2018, this is where I feel that his play started to tail off. 71 games, 9 goals. So that's the first time he's below 10 goals in a full season since his rookie year. 53 assists, 62 points. But I felt his foot speed was starting to be a problem. And this is something we've seen since then. So I don't have any kind of information to tell me exactly what's gone wrong other than the eyeball test, which is that he's not able to get back on some of these plays that he was getting back on, say, in 2014 and 2015. September 13th, 2018, of course, he gets traded. But before that, the endless speculation of him being traded. Erik Karlsson continually saying, I really don't want to get traded. But we knew he had no relationship with the owner. The Eugene Melnyk had not talked to Erik Karlsson in many months before Karlsson gets traded. So while Karlsson was upset to be traded and leave the Ottawa Senators, it was beneficial to both the Senators and to Karlsson that it happened, because he'd had this tragedy in his personal life where his wife had lost a baby, and then of course this leads to the whole Hoffman thing, and it just got ugly. And it all occurs during a season where, like I said, his play had definitely seemingly fallen off. But you can also say maybe his play falls off a bit because of everything else that's going on off the ice. It is easy for us to say, hey, you're making millions of dollars, your personal life shouldn't affect how you play on the ice. But it does. Personal life stuff is still going to affect you and potentially your work performance as much as you don't want it to, especially when you consider what he was going through. And it was rough. And, I mean, clearly, when it comes to Hoffman and Karlsson, there's a reason why if San Jose has cap space and Hoffman's a free agent and San Jose needs scoring, they're not calling Hoffman. So it's tough, and I felt horrible for him. He was going through all this, and then the trade happens. Now, the interesting thing is that it was rumored for months and months and months. I was tired, personally, of the constant rumors all over the place and where you might go and what you might get. Now, Ottawa makes a trade, and at the time it looks underwhelming. It really did. It looked underwhelming. It basically hinged on whether or not San Jose might re-sign him. And then because Ottawa had kind of gotten screwed over by San Jose in the Hoffman deal, because San Jose took both of them off Ottawa's hands, and they take Hoffman off Ottawa's hands, and then they traded Hoffman to Florida and got back more for Hoffman than Ottawa did, which was brilliant by Doug Wilson. Not that anybody will talk about that now. But then he gets Karlsson, and so they're like, all right, we better get a little bit more from Wilson than we got in the Hoffman deal. We got to make sure that if he trades him to one of our division rivals or into the East, we get another first-round draft pick. I believe it was another first-round draft pick if he'd been traded into the East. So they didn't want him getting traded, which is fine because San Jose didn't want to trade him. So September 13th of 2018, so 2 years ago, he's traded with Francis Perron for Chris Tierney, Rudolph Balcers, Dylan DeMello, Josh Norris, former first-round pick of the Sharks, 2020 first, which became Tim Stützle, 2019 second, who became Mads Søgaard, who is a goalie of the future for Ottawa, and a 2021 second. That 2021 second became a thing when Ottawa re-signs Karlsson. But the interesting thing with Erik Karlsson is that first year in Ottawa, 53 games, 3 goals, 42 assists, 45 points. He misses 17 games with a groin injury. He has other injuries that he's dealing with as well. His foot still, again, I thought his foot speed was off, and 3 goals is anemic for Erik Karlsson. Now, he's never stopped getting chances. He's never stopped taking shots. It's not like he's completely changed the way he plays the game. He's just not getting any kind of luck with that at all. So, in 53 games, 45 points. His points per game still pretty good. But yes, defensively, definitely taken a step back. And in Norris voting was, I think, 12th or 15th the year after. He will always get some sort of a vote from certain members of the Writers Association, but he's no longer considered to be a top guy. But what's interesting is it's not that long ago he was a top guy. It really isn't. And then this season, he misses 13 games with a broken thumb. Keep in mind it's a shortened season because of the pause that wiped out the rest of the regular season. 56 games, 6 goals, 34 assists, 40 points. But what's made this drop for him even more controversial than it otherwise might have been is the huge contract he has with the San Jose Sharks. So for the Sharks, they now have Karlsson for, like I said, he's kind of there for good. I can't see any situation where he leaves San Jose, at least over the short term. Maybe over the long term if you get like extra cap space and somebody wants that contract. But again, it's weird, isn't it? So he's played 736 games, has 135 goals, 468 assists, 603 points. His points totals over his career are excellent. His goals, considering he's a blue liner, also excellent. And it is strange how 2017 he's a hero of a team that very nearly goes to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then the year after and subsequent years, it's been an absolute drop for him. Now, I guess the question that I'm asking and the reason for this video is as we look at the Sharks, and again, I've been, looking at all these teams in the offseason, and the drop that the Sharks experienced this year in the standings. Does Karlsson have a chance to get back? I'm not going to say to the 21 goals, 66 points mark, but is he going to get back to double-digit goals? Is he going to get back to, say, 55 points? Something along those lines. Because for San Jose, they kind of need him to. They kind of need that defenseman, and they need him to be better in his own end and get back to what he was doing in Ottawa that had everybody screaming when he didn't win the Norris Trophy. And they were screaming for a reason. Because there's only one trophy given out, and there's how many defensemen in the NHL? Right. And so having only one guy that goes home with a trophy makes it tough. I've talked about that before, how we need a Langway Award, and we haven't seen it yet, but I think at some point we do. Not that Karlsson would win a Langway Award, but at least then 2 defensemen in the league can be recognized. But it is an interesting discussion, and Karlsson's ability to A, stay healthy and avoid these long-term injuries. Karlsson's ability to get his skating back to where it was back in, say, especially 2016, early in that season. The ability of Karlsson to get back to where he was when he was Norris level or close to it could bring San Jose back into the playoff picture. And while them adding forwards up front is important and all that, getting Karlsson back to where he was is important. And can he do it is the question. And one thing with the pause is it has allowed Karlsson to have 6+ months of not playing hockey. Look back to the 2004-2005 wiped out season and look at how that saved the career of Teemu Selanne, where he said that year off really helped. It is possible that all of this downtime for Karlsson is exactly what the doctor ordered, maybe literally, and that having this pause in his career could be the best thing for him when we get back to playing hockey, whenever that is. And we're not sure when that's going to be. But let me know what you guys think. Is it too late? Is it not? I mean, he's drafted in 2008, so that's 12 years ago. It's not that long ago. He's not that old. It's not like he's, 48 years of age and he's trying to, come back at that point and this and yet there are games where you would think he's played that much. He's played a lot of minutes. He's played a lot of hard minutes. And I think the downtime could help him. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, I thought it would be fun to look at Erik Karlsson at this stage. So let me know what you think, and I will talk to you again soon.